Happy Friday! Spill the beads with Joyce Trowbridge Softflex Company. I'm so excited to play with some craft wire and some beads to make my own artisan clasp. How are you doing this fine Friday? I don't even know what day it is. Friday, spill the beads. That's the day. It's the best day of the week. How can I forget? I get to bead with my friends. Hello, Mary and Dana, and I think I saw Melissa and Jenny, and look at all the wonderful people. And Debbie, hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have some of these awesome beads. Oh, this is kind of funny. How did we get into this template? That's where, oh, I clicked the thing. I have myself some of the stuff from the Sundance collection that we have on sale for 20% off right now. And I made these gorgeous clasps with them. And a few things that we already had online. So I have some shell and the faux stones and and a Sleeping Beauty bead. And we're going to make buttons and toggles today. Hello, happy. Hi, Cecilia. Hi, Sue. Welcome. Hi, Becky. So good to see you all here. Did you see all the wonderful Sundance-inspired jewelry that everyone made on Wednesday? And then Sarah made a reel of some gorgeous necklace that she made. I am so inspired. So inspired. Are you? Hi, Angel. Welcome. And to me, when I put that kind of thought into a piece, I like to make my own clasp sometimes. There's a combination of reasons. Partly, sometimes I just don't have the right kind of clasp. And sometimes a bought clasp just seems so generic, you know? So when I can get something, if I can make a clasp with coordinating beads that I'm putting into a piece, or if I can just even something that is, complementary to it and just adds a little extra specialness, it just makes me so much happier with with whatever jewelry I make. So I'm going to show you what I have here. Hello. Oh, I had to scoot up. Sorry. I feel like I'm really far from my table. Hello, Nancy. I know we have such a great little group of people. I love it. Hi, Dorothy. Hey, Kristen. Let's switch this out and go over here. It depends on my time. Sometimes I just go and grab my favorite clasp, because I know it works. But there's pieces that are just, I have a few extra beads left over, or the piece seems like it needs something special. And when you can make your own clasp, you can put it in the front of a necklace, which makes it so much easier to wear, right? And there's lots of ways to do it. I really had fun with this chrysophase and made my own button. And then I made a little S-hook to hook around the button once it's attached. And that's a fun little one. I used, let's see, we have this on, it is a lemon chrysophase that we have in the matte finish, and it just looks so pretty. And with that green around it, I was tempted to add some, I want to do another one because I have a second one, and add more decorative. Like, I want to keep this one plain, but I also think it'd be fun to decorate it a little bit more for another piece. This one I made with some kyanite, and it made a toggle. So we're going to talk about how to make your own toggle and toggle bar. And I used, nope, that's the one I just did. I used the green kyanite simple cut nuggets for that one. And it just makes such a, lovely centerpiece. You could put it on the back of a necklace too, or a nice chunky multi-strand bracelet would be fun to wear with this. And then we have the dark purple shells, which I'm going to use on my sample today. And then I'm going to use the Sleeping Beauty rondelle as my button. I'm going to make a small button this time. This one was a big button. I'm going to make a small button. And then I have the faux malachite. I think it was the faux malachite, if I'm not. Oh, it has a tag right here. I should just look at it, right? Yeah, the 3mm matte bicone in the malachite color, which is what I used around the edges here. And then I might use some of, and these are all 20% off this week. And these are the turquoise green rondelles. And they are. And because, oh good, I'm glad you added those to the sale. Because I think they just made, I was looking at what we had that would be so inspiring and luscious, and still, it made me think of all the wonderful gemstones that everyone's getting from Tucson, and I didn't get to go to Tucson, so of course, so this is what we're going to play with. I'm going to play with a mixture of metals and craft wire. I'm going to do 20 gauge and 18 gauge and 26 gauge. Whenever possible, I like to make my clasp with 18 gauge because it gives it more stability. But sometimes you can't put a bead on the 18. You have to put it on the 20. So I did this button on the 20. Still possible to do the button. And then I did my toggle also with the 20. And by reinforcing it with the wire around here and adding the beads to make it more decorative, it actually reinforces it, so it's going to be a little more sturdy. I do, Nancy. I get inspired by them. Since I can't go, I will find a way to enjoy it with my own stash or the things that we have. It's great. And I'm just inspired by it all. Oh, good lordy. Where did my chain nose pliers go? Did I drop them on the way in? Looks like I dropped them. Well, we're going to just go with round nose and cutters, and we're going to make it work. I had to repair something in the house, so therefore I walked in to the house with my tools. All right, I'm going to probably use my parallel pliers that I have for my own personal thing as my chain nose, because I do have my parallel pliers, which is actually a really handy thing. They're called parallel pliers because the tips evenly squeezed down because of the way they make the mechanism in the joint. Whereas usually they're joined more like scissors, so it's like tighter here and looser up here. You know, you have this is wider and this is tighter. So when you these are nice for that just solid squeeze. So I'm going to be using those today. Oh, yes, it's hard not to overspend. I always go over budget when I go to Tucson, no matter what I do. How do you not? You see such amazing stuff, and it's like, oh, I don't get to do this all the time. Hello, Christine. Welcome. Good morning. Where's my... I don't think the Sleeping Beauty is going to handle the... We're going to cut this off. So I'm going to make my button. I'm going to make my button with my... So let's see what kind of wire is going to fit in that, because I have a feeling I'm going to have to go down to a 22. But we're going to make a 22 work. I hope. Yes, we are. Yeah, definitely can't do the 20. So let's find the 22. It was just here. There it is. Woohoo! We found it. And then what I'll do is use the thicker gauge to do my S hook for it. So with the 22, I am going to make a little bit of a, like, you just need to make a tiny little swirl or a little wire knot or something on the top. And I'm going to make, since with the 22, we are going to have to make a little bit larger to make it hold. Let's double check that this 22 works. Oh, we might have to save this for a different, huh? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. We're going to do it 2 different ways today, because I'm going to show you a different way to do it, but I first need something. I have that, so let's make a button out of that first. This is a leftover crystal from one of the crystal kits that I think it was leftover from my love note. And we're going to make that button first, so you can see how to make this button. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to make that into a button with a thinner gauge wire. Ah, so excited. Thank you for finding me. What are these ones right here? These are, they're like a dark pinky purple. They are shell. Rondell's graduated strand. Isn't that beautiful? And I'm going to use these in an S hook like that. And they are in the, yes, and there's a link in our Sundance category. You can find them there. There is even some lavender purple ones and some orange ones that are just gorgeous. I hope, well, maybe if they're still left. I know some of them are selling out already. All right, so let's start with this one, and we're going to make our little, I personally like to work from this end and go up. So let's do that. Take our round nose pliers, and I'm going to make, you could just make a simple loop, but I like the little 3 little clover-ish look because I feel like it just makes it look fancier. You can come up with your own shape there. In fact, I could even probably make it like a little heart with this one. That would be kind of cute. But we're going to make the 3 little clover. So I'm just going to twist it until there's like 1 twist. And I'm leaving some space because I'm going to use this to wrap around. And now I'm going to do another one next to it. There we go. And then I'm going to bring this one and go on this side. Hi, Rosalinda. Welcome. And that is my start. I'm going to, you can whack this down in a whack-a-down. If you have one, those are great to use to flatten, but I'm going to use my parallel pliers or chain nose pliers will work too. Gonna hold on. Ooh, where am I? Where's the camera? There it is. I'm gonna wrap this short end around the long end a couple times to secure it. I am using 20 gauge right now because I am going to do the crystal. Oop, should cut off a little bit more than that. For some reason, I keep thinking I keep thinking the camera's over here, but it's actually over here. I must have set it up backwards since the last time I did this. Let's slide it on. Oh, that is so wonderful. Congratulations. That's so exciting. So, yeah, you're going to unpack. It's going to be like Christmas, right? It's going to be like a holiday full of surprises and fun and all the things that you've been, things that you forgot that you got. So it's going to be like brand new. All right. So then once I'm out, that's my start of my button. And then I'm going to come and bend it straight out from. And when you do this with gemstones, sometimes you got to be very careful so that you're not putting pressure and chipping your bead. And then I'm going to take and start twisting this around and I'm going to make a little spiral this time. A little bit bigger spiral than what I did. When I don't like the gap, if that loop is a little bigger than I want, then I just kind of squeeze it together a little bit And watch yourself with those and just spiral around. You could do this and then just end it right here like I did here on this one. Or you can have it come around the edge of the bead and secure it down here, which is a great way to do with the, like a 20 gauge. And that just kind of makes a cute little, it still adds to that button look. Yes, that is like the, you do have to be careful if you're holding your tools too close to the beads, or you're putting too much tension, there is a risk of cracking beads. And so you got to remember, we feel like we need to go like harder than we do a lot of the time. That's a good question. Sometimes I do work hard in them, but I find that I don't do it as often, because if I'm working with 20 gauge or 18 gauge, it's usually stiff enough to hold it. And then bending it and adding the beads like I did on the toggle bar and then the S hook, when you add the beads, that helps with the structure. So those things kind of help. The small little bends in the button, because these are small bends, also kind of helps work hardens it. But you can definitely work harden. So those that don't know what that means, the wire starts out as soft or half hard. It's tempered at the more natural metal hardness, and then so it's more malleable, so you can form it. And then as you are, things like smoothing out the wire before you start using it, forming little shapes with it, those things, any kind of bending starts to harden it. It changes the structure of the molecules in the wire, so it starts to harden. Now there is a thing about, like, if you overwork harden, it can kind of become a little brittle. So that's why I just kind of try to finish it. Like, I do like this S hook before I add the beads. You work harden it, but once you add the beads, you've got to be really, really careful. So in something like this, I don't feel like I need to do it as much. For an S hook or a more open like loop, this one has beads around it to help give it structure. It like on the actual wire, whereas the beads are just put on the wire on this one. So this one needs a little bit more work hardening. One way you could work harden on top of just doing the bending is, like, sometimes, like, if I wanted to work harden this part, just squeezing it with your pliers sometimes is enough, but you have to be careful and not squeeze into it and cause dents. You can use a rubber or a rawhide mallet with an anvil and hit it gently. Or we carry a whack it down, which is 2 pieces of, it's a type of plastic, I guess. It's a soft plastic that you put, there's 2 pieces, and you put your piece inside, and then you hit it with a hammer on the outside. So like it's sandwiched between the 2. Oop, can't do that. I can't do that under the camera. I don't have mine sitting here, or I'll have to bring it on another wire day. And so before I add these beads, I could lay that in there and put between the 2 pieces and hammer it, and that will help work harden it. Yeah, wire whacker. Oh, yeah, I forgot the name changed. It's a wire whacker now. It used to be called whack it down. I'm old school on that. Back in the day. Names change. It's good. and it's really handy to have for that. So if you feel like your clasp is a little bit too bouncy, you probably need to do that. Now, some of the thinner gauge wires like 22 and 24 are so thin anyway that you're still going to have some more movement. Oh, the nylon tip pliers are wonderful. Those are great to smooth out your wire, and they are also, like, if you want to put pressure without marking your design, you're able to do that without marking. So the nylon tip pliers are really great for that. So that is my button clasp there. Now let's make a little hook. Now I made a large hook here to go with this one because I wanted it to be large like the chrysoprase rondelle. This one is tiny, so we're going to make a smaller one. Second cousin to the weed whacker. I like that. That's funny. Is it blurry? Sometimes it doesn't know where to focus. So if I move slower, then you can find it. Oh, good. All right, let's get out. So I like to do my hooks with a minimum of 20 gauge, but we're going to make one with 18, and I'm going to use my copper this time. Oh. I feel like my 22 is hiding. Ah, here's my 22 in copper. So I'm gonna try the 22. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. That one doesn't work. It was 24 that I want to try for. Yeah, 24 fits into the Sleeping Beauty, so we're gonna play with that in a little bit. I'm gonna cut off a little piece to work off of. It's like, I don't know, 5 inches or so. And we're going to just make a little loop at the bottom of this to be where I attach my clasp. And I'm just making a cute little loop. And you can make the clover again, which is great, or a simple one. And I want to make a smaller hook, so I'm going to wrap it around a thinner pen than that. You can use mandrels, and you can use step tools. There's lots of ways, but to make your little loop for your hook. And I just used my mechanical pencil that was sitting there. And then I'm going to cut off a little longer. I like to go a little longer than the loop. And then bend this upwards. Because I don't want that to be pokey. There's my hook. Let's see how we like that for the size. I know it's a different color. This one might not really necessarily go with it, but I wanted to make sure. Step bell pliers help you. Yes, they're wonderful, Nancy. So this is a good time to work harden it if you want to. You can work harden it with your nylon tip pliers, the wire whacker, an anvil, and a rawhide mallet, or rubber tipped mallet. Yes, it's fun to have a variety of things. I've used my chapstick too to do it. I do want to make this a little flatter, so I'm going to just kind of push it down in my tool. There we go. And we're ready to pull the 26 gauge wire. Now I'm going to be using 26. I like to use 26. Sometimes I'll do 24, but 26 will go through more gemstones. And since these are kind of inspired by the Sundance, which is collection that we have, which is mostly gemstone, I feel like I need to have. Now I'm going to be careful with how I take these off, I thought, and apparently I didn't, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. Since these are graduated, I'm going to like try to go around from small around. Actually, that way. And they tend to have smaller holes, so the 26 works really good. I'm going to wrap. I'll leave a little tail in case I need to secure it or add a bead or something. I'm going to wrap a couple times around. Probably one more time. That. And then on the long end, I'm going to grab my first bead. And I'm going to let that sit on top of the wire or on the edge of the wire. And then I'm going to wrap it around twice. Come back up. And then squeeze it down. Then we're going to go again. There's been so many inspiring beading going on this week. What are our plans? Are you going to be beading this week? And you're going to, this just always makes me want to bead all weekend when I'm here on Friday spilling the beads with you. I do not want to do anything else in life and just bead. Especially after seeing what Kristen does on Mondays and Sarah or Kristen does on Wednesdays. And this week was extra full of projects and videos. Did you catch any of them? And just working around. Ooh, look at the time. Arrow going around. Oh, I wish it was something like that. It is the vent, the fan vent on my roof. And sometimes it's really, really loud and sometimes it's quiet. Today it must be extra windy and it's giving us a little squeak. I apologize for that. After the rain, I think it decided to be squeaky. I need to get my son up there to have a look to try to fix that for next time. I have not heard it make this much noise in a long time. But it does kind of sound like a feedback, doesn't it? I know. I sometimes put off beading because I think I need to do it. So I need to clean first. And sometimes I just have to say it's okay to bead instead. Yeah, we just got to get up on the roof. And I don't do that. So I got to get my son to do that. He's it kind of does have like a wind chime sound, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dirt will always be there. Why bother? Beads, though. Beads make me happy. And when you have wonderful inspiration from Softlex and all this great wire and beading wire, how do you not want to bead all day? I'm just wrapping it around until it is all the way to the end here and just finish it up with a few extra reps. And we're going to cut the rest of the wire. And press that little end in. And now I got a hook to go around a button. Ooh, this would be pretty with this one too. Do you like to mix metals? I love mixing metals. It's a little small. This is like you want to make sure that it's easy. Oops. You know, getting those chores done when you first get home is a great way to transition. So I don't blame you. All right, so that is our button and hooks. These are not going to go together, but I was showing on that. Because I want to do this one to go with this. And that's why I made it to fit that, is because I want to do that. And I'm going to curl this in a little bit. I like these to be a little rounder, so we're going to curl that in just a little bit. And it will just slide right, let that slide right through there. Like that. Nice. Okay, so there's my hook for that. So I could totally mix metal, but I want this in there. So yes, when we don't have one, we're going to go, oh, well, I'll have to use this. So how do I get this onto a button, right? If I can only fit 24 gauge wire in it. Well, we're going to do it by, where's my wire? What happened to my wire? We're going to make the button base, and then we're going to wire it on. Oh, that was a great mixed metal kit for sure. So I'm going to just make my loops, like my little loops for the button that goes on the bottom. I know I did that very fast, but we're running out of time and I want to show this. And we got to talk about the toggle. So, and then I'm going to make a little crown. By just twisting these ends up. So I made the same 3 little thing that I did before. I did not wrap it. You could wrap it if you want. This one's the 18 gauge, so I'm not feeling like I have to wrap it for this structure. So I'm going to be happy with that. I'm going to cut these off. Cut these off. Press these in. And now we're going to place this in between. Make my button that way. Actually, probably this, yeah, in between with the thin wire. In fact, I could still use my 26 gauge. Oh, I'm so sorry. I did do this one very fast. So there's that. But don't worry, you can watch this video after as a replay whenever. I'm going to wrap it around this loop here. It's one of the few times I actually thread my wraps through. Normally I push them through instead of thread them through. Then I'm going to add my bead. And then I'm going to wrap. Yes, Maria, that's what I do. I do the center one first, and then I do one on each side. It makes it easier for me to distinguish, like, trying to get the sides if I do it that way. I don't know why this does not want to. There we go. Get it in between. So I could wrap it this way, and then if I wanted to, I could kind of come up and back down to make it stand up, which would be a neat way to do it too. But I'm going to go for the simplicity of just going straight across. So with the rondelle in this direction, it doesn't button up as well, but it still work with a hook. Like a loop, it won't button up. Like if you wanted to do you probably want to leave more space in between for like like if you're going to do a loop of wire, or or the beading wire or leather or something like that. But for this case, because I'm using it as a hook around, this is going to be just perfect. And now we have and I'm using, all very similar techniques here. There you go. Now we have a button with the one that fits a gemstone that has a smaller hole. And we're just going to hook it in there, and that will be my clasp. Yes, replay is great. Then we slide it up, and there we go. Look at how pretty that is to make. Absolutely. I love putting my clasp as a focal whenever possible. So toggles. Let's talk about toggles real quick while we still have 10 minutes. This is very similar to what we've done, but what I did was take my 20 gauge. You have to decide what your gauge will fit the beads. Again, that is a thing. I'm going to go with the ease of the crystals again, because that's going to go very much faster. But because they are sitting here. And I have some similar shaped crystals that will give you the same look. So I took my 20 gauge, is what I did for this one. And I added my 4 main ones. Oh, this is going to be my... And this is kind of where it's kind of tricky, because you have to... And I think it's better to do your hoop first and then your bar, so that you can adjust your bar to the size that you need. It's harder to do your bar and then the hoop, because trying to get that to be the right size can get tricky. Once they're on, I like to twist this into a circle, but leaving some space. We're going to fill the space up with little beads in between. And just make the size loop that you want. Twist them together a little bit. Make a simple loop here, or if I wanted to do, I could still do my clover if I wanted to. Do you have to work backwards? You have to do a side loop, then the middle loop, and then the end loop. But it is doable. I just like to, when I do them, I like to start. You could also start with that if that makes it easier for you. I am going to now take this and just cut off a little bit, and take this wire and wrap around that tail so that it's covered. And then you could just leave it at that if you have it in the spots that you want. You can adjust it. You gotta kind of do some of the adjusting before. It's a little hard to get it to go around to adjust. And then I take the thin wire I have these because if you have little briolets are fun to stick on wire like this. 26 gauge. We got 6 minutes. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Wrap around the base and then go into the hoop. Do some wrapping. And then add the briolet. This briolet is going to look really pretty with this crystal. On the side, I'm doing the same thing that I did wrapping around the S hook, just with different beads and going around a circle. And then when I get to the crystal, and I can put as many of those beads in between, when I get to the crystal, I just take it and go over the crystal and then wrap it on the other side. And this is going to help stabilize it. It'll help keep your beads from spinning as much. It'll make it firmer. I might add a couple more on here later, but before I go any, I'm not going to complete this. We'll complete it after. But you could really add such special detail to your finished project by, giving. I want to add a little extra twist. I could go over this twice to give it an extra little spiral. And go around, and each little gap I'm going to add a little bead and wrap around, go all the way around. Now I got to make, but I'm going to leave that there because we want to talk about this toggle. So this toggle needs to, when you do a toggle, it needs to have from the loop to one end needs to not go through. It needs to be the length. Like, so you look at the longest part, like this is the longest part. You want where that loop is. You want that end to hit the piece, or you could even do it over here like that side. And see how it doesn't go through? You have to have this that long. So I start out with my 20 gauge or 18 gauge. And don't forget to share on our VIB. I want to see what you make with this. This is such, we have such a great group, and I know you can make some amazing stuff with the beads that you have from the kits, from the Sundance collection. I want to see what you make, how you make your own clasp. So I just started with a circle, just a loop. You could wrap that loop if you want to. And then I place my bead that I'm going to be on the bar. And then I'm going to see where I'm at. Now, these beads are a little short, so if I was to just end it right there after that bead, it wouldn't be long enough. I want to make sure that the loop here and this end is further out. So I'm going to cut here just to kind of give myself... I can either find more beads, which maybe isn't a bad thing. Oh, what about this? I will take these little cubes. I'm going to add a little cube on this end. And that kind of will do it. That spacing is okay because I'm going to add a little bracelet, I think. Oh, I don't think I want the bracelets on the toggle bar, to be honest. That would probably break it. I don't mind them on this part, but on the toggle bar. So I probably will find a different bead to wrap. But I'm going to just cut a little past what I want so that I can curl this end. Oh, the toggle for a lariat style. Absolutely. I'm all about showing off these. Most of the time I end up doing these to show off, but it is really nice to do it for something that you have, you know, if you put in a lot of effort to make a pendant or a layered necklace or something like a multi-strand necklace. Let's see where. Now you don't want it too, also, the other thing that you want to do, make sure is that this part is not too thick to go through. So like I needed to make sure that this opening, this was going to go through the opening. So in this direction. So that's the other thing that you need to pay attention to when you're making your toggle. Now I'm just checking, see, yeah, that looks great. So now I'm going to cut this other side to match. Bend that in. Oh, look at that. We are timed and we just did it. And then you're just going to wrap. I'll just wrap some beads. I'm going to find a bead that matches this eyelid. I think I have some rondelles that do, or maybe a seed bead or something, and wrap that on here. So you'll see that in our blog, in the final part of the blog. We'll show the final end of this clasp. Probably adds whatever I add beads I add here, I might add to my toggle too, so it will match better. But that gives you toggle bars and buttons and hooks that you can make to make your beading even more spectacular. Look at all those fun things you could do. Thank you for joining me this Friday, Spill the Beads with Joyce Trowbridge at Softflex Company. I hope you get some beading in this weekend, and I can't wait to see you next Friday. Don't forget to join Kristen on Monday and Sarah on Wednesday, because they always have such great inspiration. I'm always inspired after them. Please share on our VIB group what you make, because I want to see it. It brings me such joy to see the inspiration you share. And until next time, enjoy your week. Don't forget to grab some of these Sundance beads, inspired beads that are 20% off. Get a little taste of some fun and then join us next week. See you next Friday for Spill the Beats.